Can we talk about samples? Like, can we have an honest conversation about perfume samples? I have such mixed feelings about the whole sample game. So, when I first started watching fragrance channels, one of the things I heard often, like a ubiquitous statement, make sure you sample first, make sure you sample first, try before you buy. And that's just not always possible. There are a lot of fragrances that are either, they might be discontinued or they're not available commercially, or they're just not on those websites that offer samples. And I'm talking about Lucky Scent, Split Scent, Max Aroma, those kinds of websites where you can go order any number of samples. Not all fragrances are available to sample. So I have an issue with telling people to sample fragrances first when sometimes you just can't. Then there's two other things I want to mention about samples that I have a hard time with. They drive me crazy. And by the way, I have a lot of samples and want to share with you samples today. One other thing about samples is as you start to get into the sample game, it's a never-ending rabbit hole. I mean, you go down the rabbit hole and you come out on the other side of the earth and you just keep going out into the outer parts of the solar system. Next thing you know, you have left the Milky Way altogether because you have purchased 9,486 samples and have forgotten you even have them. You don't know whether you like them. You've gone through so many. You just have a hard time kind of keeping track of your samples. And then you have sample clutter. Like, where and how do you store all of your samples? So here's a picture of the little system that I have temporarily come up with to store my samples. It's not perfect, but it at least keeps them upright and accessible. But is this really what I want to do? Do I want to have a whole library of samples? And at one point I convinced myself I need to keep these samples for reference so that I remember what a specific fragrance smelled like and whether I like it and what to compare it to, because I'm going to be that detailed of a YouTube reviewer. Well, that hasn't quite happened. That's not the YouTuber that I am. I do a more casual review of fragrances. I don't go into history. I don't always share detailed note breakdown and comparisons and all of that. So is that a reason to keep samples? And the part that really drives me the craziest is I'm not sure that you're actually saving money by sampling and sampling and sampling and sampling some more, some more. If I shared with you the dollar amount I have spent on samples, it's kind of mortifying, to be honest with you. It's ridiculous. Now, one could say, well, why don't you just stop? Because I don't want to. That's why. I want to smell all the fragrances everywhere all the time. All the time. It becomes almost like a bit of an obsession. I got to check that one out, and I got to check that one out, and I got to check that one out. And next thing you know, you have spent ridiculous amounts of money on samples where if you had maybe done just a little bit more research and stuck to just reviews and taken your chances, you might have found a few fragrances if you went ahead and bought full bottles that you actually just really enjoyed, fell in love with, added to your collection, and maybe a few that just didn't work out. Because the same is true with samples. There are so many that just don't work out. There's so many portions. Like if you buy discovery sets, don't get me started on those, and the percentage of the discovery set that actually ends up being a flop. And so what have you paid for? It's ridiculous. I'm 4 minutes and something seconds in, and I got more to say. I think the whole sample thing is quite the racket. They're so overpriced for what you get. Think about like 100 milliliter bottle of fragrance and the number of samples that can be pulled out of that to sell off. You can make back typically the price of the bottle and a lot more. It's a whole thing, y'all. I don't know. I have lots of mixed feelings, and some people feel really strongly you're saving money by sampling because look at it this way, you would have purchased full-size bottles that cost X, Y, and Z. You have to do the math in your head for yourself. I know for me that the cost of samples drives me insane. Can I say one more thing before I go into the samples I want to share? If you shop on Lucky Scent, and did Split Scent do this too? Another site I don't remember, and they send you dabbers. God. So you're spending 7, 8, sometimes up to $12 and $15 for a sample of a very sought after fragrance that is stupidly priced. Like, let's get real. Some of these prices are just out friggin' rageous. But I'm like, I'm curious and I want to sample it. And they send you this little itty bitty dabber, which is a pain to open. Sometimes it just like pops open and you waste part of the fragrance and it dribbles and drips, and samples can be a real pain. But I really thought maybe I should make something good of the samples that I have and share with you my impressions of them. So I'm going to do a 20 in under 20 minutes. I hope I stick to that. 20 samples that I have tried that I want to share with you very basic thoughts on. And there were for me 4 criteria that I looked at. Do I think the sample, the fragrance, is a mass appealing fragrance? In other words, would a large portion of the population probably like it? Yes, no, or maybe. What does the thing smell like to me? And I'm not talking about a structured note breakdown. I'm talking about if I don't even look at Fragrantica, if I don't look at Perfumo, if I don't look at Base Notes or any of those other websites, what am I smelling just blindly from my sniff? How does the fragrance wear? Is it light and fleeting? Is it eternal and like nuclear? And then finally, me personally, do I think it's full bottle worthy? Yes, no, or maybe. Because it's not always black and white for me, like yes or no. So let's dive in. Forgive me, I'm going to be looking down here a little bit because I want to make sure I get to my notes. I'm not going to spend time sticking my nose up a perfume sample and sniffing during this video. I've already taken all of my notes. Let's go. Juliette Has a Gun, Not a Perfume. Very popular fragrance, made even more popular by Kelly Ripa when she announced that it was her favorite on, I think it's Good Morning America or one of those shows. Is it mass appealing? Maybe. I'm not sure. Yes or no? Maybe. It smells to me woody, like a soft musk. I got a subtle sweetness from it. I think it's a very office safe and crowded room safe kind of fragrance. Worn on skin is best. I found it to be close to skin and light, like you have to be in the person's scent bubble to really smell it. And I think that's part of the appeal of it for those people that like softer fragrances. Is it full bottle worthy? Maybe. I still haven't decided if I definitely want one or not. Next are 3 fragrances from Amouage, a house that I so badly want to love. I have 2 fragrances, Beach Hut, which I really like, and then Myths, which is a crazy, wild, definitely not a safe blind buy fragrance. I'll link a video below if you want to hear about Myths. But I have a lot of decants from Amouage, thanks to a sweet friend here on YouTube that sent me a bunch. And at times I love them and at times they drive me crazy. So let's start with Journey Woman. Do I think it's mass appealing? No. And I want to share that it reminds me slightly of Guerlain's Black Perfecto. What does it smell like? It smells like new sneakers or tennis shoes. When you open the box, that smell of very clean rubber, overripe plums. It's leathery and it's slightly powdery to me. I think this is a fragrance that morphs on skin. It lasts a very, very long time and it's incredibly strong. So you want to love it if you're going to wear it. Is it full bottle worthy to me? No, I will not be purchasing a bottle of Journey Woman. Let's go then to Bracken, a fragrance that I sampled and thought, I do want this. And I had put it on my wish list and actually put it in cart and then decided, let me try it one more time. Do I think it's mass appealing? No. What does it smell like? I think it's super fruity in a berry way, like a really crushed berry kind of a smell, tropical candy smell, almost like rotten tropical candy, and it's green and it's woody all at the same time. A very complex, peculiar fragrance. How does it wear? It is loud and eternal. It goes on forever and it projects forever and ever. Is it full bottle worthy? Despite how strange my descriptions sound, I'm going to say yes, maybe. I'm not sure. I kind of love it and I kind of think it's super obnoxious. Then we have Amouage Portrayal. Is it mass appealing? I don't think so. What does it smell like? It smells to me like a fruity gum. It has this like cashmere feel to it. You know, it's something really soft and like fuzzy about it. And then I also get some kind of resins in it, like that sticky resinous thing. It is also super loud and eternal. And another one that just has me incredibly confused. Would I buy a full bottle? Maybe. I'm not really sure. Now, by the way, Amouage tends to be rather expensive. So this is a brand that I would personally prefer to find on sale. I haven't been like blown away by any Amouage to want to pay full price, but these are interesting enough that I don't know, at the right price tag, I might go for Bracken or Portrayal. Go to a couple of fragrances that were recently popular. I don't hear them talked about much anymore. They're by Franck Boclet. I'll start with Erotic. What a name, Erotic. Do I find this mass appealing? I'm gonna say no. It reminds me a lot of Agent Provocateur, if you remember that, the original, which I think is a very polarizing fragrance. It's either loved or hated. What does it smell like? This is such an interesting fragrance. Wet tobacco, a dirt accord, vetiver, aftershave. I also get a woodiness and a hint of baked bread and funk, like body funk. I know that sounds weird. Somehow that all works together. It is loud and eternal, long lasting. And would I get a full bottle? Would I advise you to? I would say yes, if you are daring. The little bit of funk factor in it could be really off-putting for people, so you kind of have to be intrigued by fragrances that are really peculiar. On the other hand, let's talk about Cocaine, which was a very sought after popular fragrance probably about a year ago or so on YouTube. Mass appealing? No. It's very, very tuberose heavy. I am a tuberose lover, but most people are not. So I just want to say no. What does it smell like? It's heavy on the tuberose. I get an orchid note from it. And what does orchid smell like? The best way I could describe orchid is like a dusty purple kind of a smell. It's not quite as purple and clean as like an iris or a violet note. It's somewhere on the other side of that. And then there's a dustiness to this fragrance that bothers me. It is loud and it is eternal and it will last a long time, and it is full bottle worthy. Not for me. I'm going to say no. And I think in general, I would not tell someone, yeah, go out and try that one. That's an interesting one. It's going to be a no. I want to talk about a fragrance that has made the rounds here on YouTube. It is called Mercurial Cashmere from Electimuss. I think the bottle's gorgeous. Some people think the bottle's hideous. Do I think this is mass appealing? Yes, I think that it is. It smells powdery, soft. It's a white floral kind of fragrance for me with this sweetness to it. I found it ethereal and light. I found it to be fluffy in texture, and I wrote down feminine goodness, feminine goodness. It is long lasting and it has great projection. Is it full bottle worthy? For me, absolutely. I would pay the full price for this bottle. Absolutely. It is gorgeous and feminine and made me just feel divine. Next, a fragrance that has been compared to Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. It is by Boadicea, and it's called Bodacious. So, mass appealing? No. I find this to be a very eccentric fragrance. I found what it smells like is that it opens a little bit like cigarette smoky to me. I got that absolutely and right away. As that dissipates, it becomes very boozy, heavy on the cherry and heavy on the leather together. A little bit like in the Spirito Fiorentino from Tiziana Terenzi meets Tom Ford meets Haute Couture. Like if you smash those together, it may give you a sense of what Bodacious is like. I do think it is a bit like Lost Cherry, but I find Lost Cherry to be richer and smoother. There was something a little bit rough to me about Bodacious. It was pushy. It was like in your face, and it's that friend that likes to like joke around and shove you when they joke, and they're constantly pushing you and your back's like, oh, that wasn't that funny, dang. That's what Bodacious reminds me of. So how does it wear? I find it to be very long lasting and very projecting. It's loud. You must mean to wear it. Would I buy a full bottle? I would say for others that are looking for that kind of fragrance, maybe. For me, I think for right now, it's a not really. However, I've been known to change my mind. And this is a fragrance that I have a feeling if I try it again, I might change my mind and actually appreciate that little push on the back. I might like Bodacious, but for now, not so much. Then I want to talk about 4 fragrances by a brand that has been getting tremendous hype here on YouTube. It is Unique E. And I love these bottles. They're gorgeous. These are expensive fragrances. They're in the upper 200 range into the $300 range. And so again, when you get to that price range, I really want to feel like I'm going to wear it a lot and enjoy it tremendously to splurge on something like that. So I tried 4 from this line. Let's start with Crush on Me. Is it mass appealing? I would say no. What does it smell like? To me, I got a synthetic citrus, like some kind of plasticky citrus. I also got a plasticky caramel out of it and a very linear patchouli. It wasn't like a rich, earthy, not even a dirty patchouli, just like patchouli. It was like a flat patchouli. And I am sorry, I know a lot of people love Crush on Me, and no offense, I'm sure it smells wonderful on them. I found this fragrance to be a mess. I'm sorry, it was very messy to me. It was like it had an identity crisis. It's nuclear and it is eternal in terms of being long lasting. Full bottle worthy, not for me, although I would say there are a lot of YouTubers that really love this fragrance. So please feel free to sample that one if you think you might like it. I think it's one that I'm definitely going to pass on for now. I'll go on to Chocolate Makes Me Happy. Love the name. I mean, who doesn't? Chocolate makes me happy. Does it make you happy? I like milk chocolate and I like dark chocolate, and I especially love chocolate with peanut butter. And if it has chocolate and peanut butter and crunchy nuts in it, oh my gosh. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Chocolate makes me happy. Mass appealing? Maybe. Smells to me like chocolate Twizzlers. I've never had chocolate Twizzlers, but if Twizzlers made chocolate ones, this is what it smells like to me. It's floral. There's some sweetness to it. It also has a strong element of hairspray. I like the way hairspray smells. It's a good hairspray. It has a hint of a coffee scent and a splash of lavender, which makes it quite complex of a fragrance. It's nuclear and eternal. And is it full bottle worthy? I would say yes, but not for me, not right now. I don't think I'm ready for this fragrance, but there's something about it that I think I like and I want to keep exploring. Let's go next to Istanbul. Love the name. Is it mass appealing? No. The name does not match what this smells like to me. People say that it smells like Love, Don't Be Shy by Kirkdjian. It smells to me very sweet. There's a strong neroli thing happening in here. It's marshmallowy and it's powdery. It's nuclear and it's eternal as well. I think that's a theme with the Unique E line, that these are really potent, long-lasting fragrances. Full bottle worthy? Yes, but not now. Like, I'm not in a rush to add this to my collection because I have other fragrances that smell like that, but I do like it a lot. Okay, so Istanbul gets a thumbs up from me personally. And I also picked up a decant of Beverly Hills Exclusive. Mass appealing? No. What does it smell like? Aldehydic. I found it oody. I found it to have a strong tobacco accord. There's a soft sweetness in there as well. And it's mildly funky, funk, in a good way, in the best way possible. So does this last? Yeah, it was loud and eternal. Projected really far, lasted a long time. Is it full bottle worthy? A strong maybe to yes. This is one that I could see myself wearing and enjoying, especially in the winter months. Go then to 2 Maison Francis Kirkdjian MFK fragrances that I have sampled over and over again. One is Gentle Fluidity Gold. Is it mass appealing? Yes. What do I get out of it? Soft roses, a soft vanilla, soft musk. It's soft. It is nice. I have to say, very nice fragrance, but I have to admit, I don't get the hype around this one, and I don't get why it costs so much. Is it any more special than other fragrances that smell like it? No, but it is really, really nice, I must admit. It is a very soft but long-lasting fragrance. And is it full bottle worthy? If it wasn't for the cost, I would say yes. But because of the cost and because there are other fragrances that give you the same kind of vibe, the same kind of quality, I'm gonna say no to Gentle Fluidity Gold, but it is pretty. Then Baccarat Rouge 540, the Extrait version. I have dupes of this that are great. In fact, Amber Oud Rouge from Al Haramain is a beautiful dupe for this that is, you can't tell the difference. So I'm good with that. Is this a mass appealing fragrance? Yes. It's saffron, leather, sugar, and salt, and it's woody. It's soft, but it's eternal and projecting. So even though it's, well, soft as in soft to the nose, it does project off of you and it lasts forever. Is it full bottle worthy? Yes, absolutely. But like I said, I have dupes, so I'm good with that, and I won't be purchasing a full bottle. Next, I come to a fragrance that I actually have changed my mind about. And so let me apologize to all the lovers of this fragrance, because I did a little separate dedicated video in this nightly series where I had a candle in my bathroom and I got a sample and I smelled it and I shared my thoughts. It's Greenwich Village from Bond Number 9 in the beautiful turquoise bottle that I wanted to love so much. When I sampled that the night of, here's another thing about samples that drive me crazy, and fragrance in general. You might have a funky experience with something that later on you try again and it's like a whole different experience and you love it, and vice versa. You might love a sample and then try it later and go, this really isn't that special. The thing about having a bottle is it allows you a full body wear, whereas a sample, you're typically just putting it in one place, right? Like your hands or, you know, the inside of the wrist or something like that. And it's just not a full experience. Anyway, back to Greenwich Village. Is it mass appealing? I'm going to say probably yes. People say that this also smells like Baccarat Rouge 540. In my first review, I said this smells like stale breath. Not bad breath. There's a difference. Bad breath is like putrid. Makes you want to throw up. I'm talking about stale breath. Someone who hasn't taken a sip of water in a long time and they've had their mouth closed all day because they haven't talked to anybody and they open to talk to you. And it's just staleness, stale. There's just no other word. It's stale, dusty, nasty. Smells like an old attic with dust and staleness. So no, this actually doesn't smell like that. Although I will say, deep into the Greenwich Village dry down, like when I've had it on for about 4 hours, it does get a little stale. So, but it is actually lightly fruity. I got a caramel out of it, and it's actually a praline note that's reading as like caramelly to me because those are very similar. Saffron, and it's musky. So I have changed my mind about Greenwich Village. I find it to be a soft but long-lasting fragrance. And is it full bottle worthy? Probably. I'm gonna say yes and see if I can pick up a bottle at a discounted price because I'm not paying $400 for that bottle. That ain't happening. It's not that good. It's not that good. But it's good enough to pay, I don't know, $150, $200 maybe. We'll see. Okay, so that's Greenwich Village. I go next to one that I have a nice dupe of from Dua. So I don't know that I would spring for a full bottle of this because it's another super expensive one. It's Carnal Flower by Frederic Malle. Is it mass appealing? No, not even close. This is a very peculiar, bizarre fragrance that I've been lusting after for a while. But like I said, I have the dupe. What does this smell like to me? Hang with me here. This smells to me very earthy. It smells like decaying flowers. It also smells like the water inside of a vase that you've had a bouquet of flowers sitting in that are maybe decaying. A little bit of that, but not to the point where it's like nauseating. Somehow it works in this composition. There's also a greenness in here that reminds me of like fresh cucumbers and something cardamom spicy-ish, okay? I have really liked this fragrance for a long time and have had the sample for a while, and I like it. I find it soft and long lasting. And is it full bottle worthy? I'm gonna say maybe if I can find it on the right discount. But like I said, I have a dupe for now that satisfies the itch that I have with Carnal Flower. Let's go next to Armani Prive line. We already know Rouge Malachite is a winner. We already know Vert Malachite is a winner. But let's talk about Rose d'Arabie. One that when I sampled, I was like, this is okay. And then sampled again recently for this video and thought, this is nice. So is it mass appealing? I would say yes. For people that are into fragrances, this is probably a good one. It is soft. It's a soft and pretty rose, heavy woodiness, also a little like oudi, and it has a lilac thing going on to me. I don't know if there's lilac in there or not, but I picked up like a lilac note, a soft floral lilac. I find it to be a soft but long-lasting fragrance. And is it full bottle worthy? Yes, probably. This is one that I would consider picking up a full bottle of. In the same line is Cuir Amethyst. Mass appealing? No. What does it smell like? It smells like suede. It smells like violets, patchouli, and mac and cheese. It has a mac and cheese, cheesy, pasta-y funk to it that was just interesting when it's in the background. So this is a loud and eternal fragrance. And what I think it's full bottle worthy, I'm going to say no. It is a pretty fragrance despite the funk that I just described from the mac and cheese. But notes, is that a thing? But you know what I'm talking about? Velveeta cheese. It has a specific smell. I don't use Velveeta cheese in my mac and cheese. Well, I haven't made mac and cheese in forever. I make mine, y'all, I make some killer mac and cheese when I do make it. I digress, but I use real cheese. So no on that. The one that I have admittedly lusted after. It is entirely too expensive for me to even, I cannot justify spending 500 plus on sale. Retail, I think it's over 700. I cannot justify spending that on a single bottle of fragrance. I'd rather buy 5 to 7 bottles for that. It is Atlantide by Tiziana Terenzi in the beautiful Sea Star bottle. Okay, let's talk about it. Is it mass appealing? No. What does it smell like? The words emerald green came to mind. It is a green fragrance, but there's something deep about it, and I thought of the color, the green dark color emerald, to match that. It is a heavy tuberose fragrance. There's something aromatic and herbal about it. And I also found it a touch powdery. Loud and eternal. This thing went on and on. Is it full bottle worthy? Yes, but not for the price. Not for the price. I'm not doing it. I'm not. I'll probably have it next year. But for now, I'm saying I'm not going to spend that money. If it dips down into the 300 or less range, I will think about it as a splurge. Let's move on. I'd like to talk about 2 from Parfums de Marly. And spoiler alert, I ended up just tossing all of my Parfums de Marly samples. There's only one fragrance from Parfums de Marly that I have ever fallen in love with, and it's Eau Jaune. That doesn't mean there aren't beautiful fragrances in the Parfums de Marly line, but for what they charge, I just, no. Once again, no. But it's Darcy. Is it mass appealing? Maybe. I found it to be citrus, floral, musky. It's got a luxe smelling dry down, like a combination of cocoa and Coco Mademoiselle. A smashing between those. It's moderate and long lasting. Full bottle worthy? Maybe. Depending on the price, I'm not quite sure. I also went back and sampled Safanad again. Is it mass appealing? No. I got mostly white and yellow florals and a vanilla out of there. I found it to be a very soft fragrance, and I don't think that it's full bottle worthy. Didn't dislike it, but just didn't find it special for the price tag that Parfums de Marly charges. I will leave you with one that got super hyped here on YouTube, but I will also ask if you'd like to see a follow-up, a part 2, maybe a part 3. Let me know. I've got samples and samples for days to do this. It is Nefs by Nishan or Nishane. Is Nefs mass appealing? No, with many, many O's following. What does it smell like? Leather. Leather. Oud. I get spice, and I get a rosy accord out of here. It is loud and it is long lasting, eternal. Is it full bottle worthy? Yes, but at a reduced price. Here's another one that came on the market, I think in the $500 plus range, and then you found it on the gray market sites for a little over 300. I think they've got to knock another 100 off of there, and then maybe I'll think about it. The bottle is beautiful, and the fragrance, if you like dark, leathery, spicy fragrances, Nefs is beautiful. Okay, I really hope that you enjoyed this. This is a nice way for me to make use of these samples, make something productive out of them by sharing with you my thoughts on them. And I hope that you found them entertaining, my thoughts, and if not entertaining, at least useful for your own decision-making purposes. Take care, friends, and I'll see you in the next video.